on today, guys, we're going to go through some of the main events, co-main events, and some of the highlights of the year. We're about halfway through the UFC year. This is the last year of pay-per-views. It's a big year. The beginning of 2025 hasn't been, it wasn't great. We're closing in on a pretty good closing of the 2025 year in all events and all the fights that happened. So we're going to be ranking fights from S tier, A, B, C, D, E. You see what I'm saying? In the S tier, it's fights that will be talked about for years, standout performances. These things will be, mentioned for time to come, forever and ever. There will always be mentioned in these guys' career, like when Jones beat DC the first time, when he beat them the second time, like when Reyes almost beat Jones, when Pereira beat Izzy as soon as he got into the UFC, when he beat Strickland. You see how these fights are constantly mentioned over and over again in people's career? That's S tier. That's top notch. That is forever and ever across your legacies. When they play highlight reels of your resume, this fight is going to be highlighted on there, okay? Notable, impressive. Second one, pretty notable. We'll be talking about for the next couple years, but we're going to eventually forget that this fight even happened over time. All right? 2025 standout, great for the year, decent performance, nothing too crazy, top notch. It's almost going to be like, damn, this fight really happened? I forgot this one even. I was like man, that's what happened in this fight, right? Then there's won't be remembered, which is lackluster, dead event, no hype, no headlines were made. This guy's bottom of the barrel. He's never going to make it type of performances. And then there's this happened where there's multiple fights when I was looking over the past year and the fights that have happened. I was like, when the fuck did this fight even happen? What happened in this fight? Did I miss it? Of course I didn't miss it. But this obviously wasn't a fucking showstopper. Nobody even talked about it the next day is my type of thought process with the this happened category at the very bottom. You see my point? It's almost like, what? All right. Starting off real strong from the very top. Let's go with, I'll start with one of the recent ones, right? Poirier versus Max Holloway. Perfect example for 2025 standout, right? We're not really talking about it. It's Poirier's retirement fight. Max was supposed to win this one. We all knew Max was supposed to win this one. We're all pushing for Max to win this one. He's actively looking to advance in the lightweight division. That's the whole reason why he moved up. He wants that rematch with Ilya. Dustin's been talking about retirement since his last loss against Makhachev. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not a big deal. I don't think we're going to be talking about it much. Not really much happened. Poirier was tuning him up. They both dropped each other. Pretty much 4-1 Holloway. I mean, it wasn't really that competitive. Right? All right. I think you know where I'm going with this one, okay? Derek Lewis versus Thaleson Teixeira. And honestly, this one's kind of it's a bit of a fence sitter one because I feel like it could either be in standout or won't be remembered. It just depends on how far Derek Lewis takes this win streak, right? Because he's coming off of 2 wins now. Just depends. I'll put him in 2025 down because Derek Lewis barely even fights. He fights once a year, maybe twice a year. It's not that big of a deal. Teixeira is just now coming up. There's the heavyweight division's not deep at all. This is one of the most active, actual heavyweight fights we had over the past couple months. We haven't had much that actually were meaningful. You know what I'm saying? This was Derek Lewis had a cool line at the end, right? About a whole lot of ground to pound my wife, right? something cool, a little tagline, something funny. People can remember this one. Talking a whole lot of shit. He just got off the phone with Trump. Exactly. 2025 standout. One of the highlights of the year. A great post-fight. Shit. My fucking mic, man. A great post-fight interview. Highlights throughout the week. You know, Teixeira was talking shit. All right, you get it. Derek Lewis versus Teixeira, 2025 standout, just like Max Holloway versus Dustin Poirier. Okay? Now I'll show you what I mean. Peter Yan versus Marcus McGee. It just happened, and I already forgot it happened. By the end of this year, I promise you, I'm not going to remember who Yan fought last. Excuse me. Tripping over the GOAT's words, man. I can't even speak straight whenever Jan's in context. Unfortunately, this fight will not be on the highlight reel. It will not be remembered. Nothing really happened. I barely remembered this fight was even on, whatever card that was or whatever fight night that was. Nothing crazy, right? Let's see what we got here. Ooh, I don't want to give any away. Stephen Thompson versus Gabriel Bonfim. A little bit of controversy. It should have went to Stephen Thompson, Wonder Boy, in my opinion. Again, it just happened, and I already forgot. Who is Bonfim? I don't fucking know. Wonder Boy, he's old as shit. What was his last fight? I don't remember. The only reason that this fight's not in the this happened category is because he split open his shin, and it was kind of a robbery. That's the only two reasons. There's a little bit of remembrance there. There's a little bit of highlight capability, but that's it. Nothing crazy, right? Holland, Darce's. Let me zoom in a little. Holland, Darce's, Luque. 2025 standout. This is when people are like, oh, Holland's going to get the belt. He's going back up. He's climbing the ranks again. This is Holland at his peak. You know what I'm saying? Same old Holland. Wins 2. Looks like he's going on a streak. Maybe wins 3 and then shits the bed against somebody he should have beat. Just like it happened with A-Rod, right? Sergey Pavlovich versus Sasavoy. Honestly. It just happened and I already forgot. UFC Shanghai was like, 2 weeks ago? A week ago? Forgot. Exactly. Aljo versus Ortega. No highlights. Ortega went in the hospital. That was it. Boring fucking fight. Boring decision. Aljo, you're not getting the title shot, little bro. It's not going to happen. I digress. This fight's beyond imaginable. I forgot what even happened. That's my point. Okay? Johnny Walker. Let's go ahead and get the whole Shanghai card. Johnny Walker rebounds after a knockout skid. You know what? Will be remembered just because it's Johnny Walker. He has a little bit of lore. We all know who he is. He finally rebounded. We thought he was going to get KO'd. He ends up leg kicking this fucking piece of shit Chinese fighter Zhang, who's not really that good, who's talking shit on Alex's name. Exactly. There's a little bit of something there because it's Johnny Walker. He pulled guard immediately when he was trying to get a takedown. It's Johnny Walker. He was supposed to get knocked out. He didn't. He ended up TKOing his opponent. 2025 standout, in my opinion. I digress. MVP versus Cannonier. Just happened, won't be remembered. Dull fight. He dropped Cannonier a couple times. It was on a good card. Kind of halted the momentum of the card. That's it. Enough said, right? Speaking of MVP versus Char Bullet. I forgot this fucking fight happened. Completely. MVP's randomly fighting at 185 for no fucking reason and then drop him back down to 170. He fights twice a year in a dull fucking decision and emotes on his opponent for 3 out of the 5 minutes in a round. Not even. More like 4 out of the 5 minutes because he throws 2 fucking strikes. It's 15. You can tell how I feel about MVP. Not the biggest fucking fan. The guy's old as shit. He's not entertaining to me. He's fucking annoying the way he fights. He doesn't go for finishes. No KO power in the UFC, my opinion. Right? Char Bullet, Marc-Andre Barriou. Honestly, this guy's not the height that he was a year ago. The one eye, the pirate fucking scheme, lean, you know what I mean? The guy's not entertaining at all. He fucking kicks at range. He jabs like he kicks. The double spinning elbow was sick last year. Haven't heard a peep since. I forgot he fought this year twice. He fought twice this year already. Who fucking knew? Not me. Not fucking me, because I totally forgot. The red hair, the beard, the pirate scene, the one eye, it's not selling, bro. Switch it up. I digress. On to the next. Steve Garcia versus Calvin Guitar. Calvin Guitar's washed as shit. I forgot this fight fucking happened, and it just happened not too long ago in August or end of July. I think it was August. Who fucking knew? Again, Calvin Guitar still fights. Who the fuck is Steve Garcia? No highlights, no interviews, no post-fight interview, no press conference, no memes during the week, no highlights, nothing. Completely under the radar. No one will be talking about this come next month, bro. I mean, no one's talking about it now. You know what I mean? Like, these guys are so shit. Calvin Guitar is so shit. Should have been washed up a long time ago. Right? Sadikov versus Mata. Okay? Highlight. One of the best fights of the year. Could be 2025's best fight. Or whatever the fuck that ranking is. Because this was one of the only fights that really was a banger. I mean, both guys were swinging for the fences. It was almost like the Van versus Roy Val fight. I know I got that one on here. Let's get some S tier going. Where's Brandon? Where's Roy Val versus? It's on here, bro. There it is. There it is. Van versus Roy Val will be talked about for years. It's one of those fights where both guys are just absolute dogs, slinging leather till the bell fucking rings. Both guys got rocked. Both guys got hurt. Van showed us what kind of fucking fighter he is. I still don't think he beats Pantoja, but the guy's stock went from here to through the fucking roof, man. I mean, boom! Come on. Hell yeah. Roy Val still showed he's got the dog in him. Of course, it's Roy Val. Highlight. Will be talked about for years. Ready? Fluffy versus Dolidze. Impressive, notable, absolute domination from round 1 to round 4. Non-stop pressure. Dolidze broke in front of everybody. It was an apex fucking fight, right? Wasn't it an apex fight? Apex. Yep. The fucking Apex, man. It was literally an Apex fight, and it was a fucking highlight. Notable and impressive. This fight will be talked about for a while. Fluffy Hernandez has become one of those guys who's now known in the division. He's one of the moggers. He's a cardio fucking mogger. He's a Marab at 185. People were talking about this like he's getting a title shot now. Fluffy's in the top of the leaderboard, and he has guys above him ranked for the title shot, and he's going to get a title shot immediately. He got booked against De Ridder. Banger. You know what I mean? This is what I'm talking about. Ready? What is this one? Tim Elliott versus Kaya Sakura. I guess, kind of a standout because Tim Elliott really got it. Like he still got it, but probably won't be remembered because I don't think Kaya Sakura is going to last long in the UFC. If you're not beating number 14 or 15 ranked Tim Elliott in 2025, you're not beating anyone, bro. Go back to Ryzen. They'll treat you better. You'll get paid more. Right? Lerone Murphy versus Aaron Pico. That spinning elbow will probably be talked about for a while, especially because it was back-to-back spinning elbows with Prates versus Neal. I mean, and that one as well, talked about for years. You know what? Probably notable and impressive because it wasn't quite a flatline KO where it was like, boom, done. It was more of a holy shit type of, a holy shit, like a Dana type of, this guy, this kid's the real deal. He smokes, he drinks. It was one of those type of KOs. It wasn't like oh my God, this guy's dead. And that's what Lerone Murphy's was against Aaron Pico. It was, this guy's fucking dead. I'm watching a dead man on my screen right now with my wife sitting next to me. There's a dead guy on the screen with his eyes open, flat on his back, with the UFC Monster logo right fucking next to him. Yeah, man. What is this one? Costa versus Kopylov. Probably won't be remembered. It's just the only reason it's not at this happened is because it's fucking Costa, and Costa knows how to make a ruckus about his fights. Enough said. Rodriguez, A-Rod versus Kevin Holland. Probably won't be remembered. It was a good fight in the moment. It had some highlights. Holland was coming into it with some fucking hype. Ranked 15 or 14, taking on A-Rod right outside the welterweight rankings. And he got fucking rocked, and it just wasn't that big of a deal after. No one really cares because Holland's fighting again already. You know what I mean? No one really fucking cares. Even Holland. Holland fucking cares. You know what? He does fucking care. Holland does fucking care. He always does. All right, on to the next one. Khalil Rountree versus Jamal Hill. Hate me. Fucking don't hate me. I don't even remember this fucking fight happened. It was a boring fucking fight. Nobody remembers any. Name a highlight that happened in this fight. No, I'll wait, bro. Wait. Name a fucking highlight. What card was this on? No, please tell me. What card was this on? Exactly my point, little bro. Exactly my point. Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira. Enough said. Will be talked about for the rest of time. Especially. Excuse me. Not only did Charles get flatlined, right? But Ilia's coming off a KO loss, or a KO win over Volk, a KO win over Max, and now a KO win over Oliveira. No one in the history of time has ever had a resume like that, and I don't think anyone ever will. Ilia came into his prime at the perfect moment where he's catching these guys when they're old. He's a lot better skilled on the feet than they are, and they cannot handle that kind of power coming at him. This is a perfect rise for this type of fighter. It's as much as him being extremely talented as well as he's catching all these highlight guys who are towards the end of their career. Everyone knows these names. These are household staple names. Charles Oliveira, Max Holloway, Volk. Everybody knows these guys, even if you're not involved in the sport at all. Exactly. Talked about for years. I'm taking Lerone out. It was a crazy knockout, but it's not gonna be talked about for years, bro. You know what? I'm taking Van versus Roy Battle out. Hate me, bro. Hate me. I feel like we'll talked about for years has to be some kind of. It's got to be like casual level. Holy shit, you know what I mean? GICL, yeah. Like the guy who fucking watches football and basketball and other bullshit sports talking about it. That's what I think we'll talk about. We'll be talked about for years. Hate me or love me, bro. That's my opinion. Dricus versus Hamzat. Notable and impressive. Hamzat dominated. We all thought if Hamzat doesn't get him out of there in the first 2 rounds, Dricus is going to win. One way or another, he has the plot armor. Hamzat gasses out. Is he going to submit him in the first round? There was memes. This was the most hyped up matchup of the year so far. Obviously, JDM and Makhachev is coming up, but this is different. This was a true prime for prime. Hamzat's coming back in the U.S. It's his first fight in the U.S. in a long time. This is, the hype around this fight. People will forget, man. People forget, man. The highlight around this fight was people were talking about it. It is prime for prime. 2 of the best in the world going head to head. And Hamzat fucking dominated. So I think if the fight lived up to the hype, it would have been and will be talked about for years just because of how many people knew about this fight going on and how much of a big deal and how much of a star Hamzat is. But because of Hamzat's lackluster fucking performance where it was gay as shit and it was boring, it was not the best type of dominant performance. It was dominant, but it just wasn't impressive to me. It was fucking boring. If he went out there and submitted him in a round, talked about for years, holy shit, he gets another 5 million on Instagram. Dricus is in shambles, you know what I mean? But it just wasn't. It was a fucking boring fight. Hate me or love me, bro. Kai Kara-France versus Pantoja. 2025 standout. Pantoja really is that good. He's the second right behind Mighty Mouse for the flyweight GOAT. Best of all time. He's getting better within each fight, and these guys are not going to be able to catch up to him. He's about a double lap the damn flyweight division, which I know ain't much because these guys aren't that high level. It's kind of like the heavyweight division. It's not that big of a deal. But still, the way that he's able to progress in each fight, we learned that in this one. He's a dominant force, and nobody has anything for him in the division. Kai Kara-France is a fucking goblin freak. He didn't deserve it. So Huber versus Michael Johnson probably won't be remembered, even though it was a highlight for sure. Probably won't be talked about because it really wasn't that big of a deal. So Huber's not going to get a ranked opponent. Neither is Johnson. Johnson's probably right outside the ranked, the rankings. So Huber's not that good. Johnson's fucking old and chinny. Kind of just that, man. Just fucking that. Gaethje versus... No, that's DeRitter. Who the fuck? DeRitter versus Whitaker. Won't be remembered. I'm already not fucking hearing chitter chatter about it, bro. Nothing. I don't hear anything about this fight. DeRitter got knocked down in the 5th. He pretty much dominated the fucking fight. It was a bit of back and forth, but I thought he won pretty comfortably, 49-48 decision. Not a big deal, right? Fiziev versus Ignacio Bahamondes. Won't be... dude, I didn't even know Fiziev fought twice this year. I think he was on the Baku card because he's from Azerbaijan, but again, not that big of a deal. We thought Ignacio was the real deal. He wasn't. It's no hype, no nothing. I feel like he's getting more traction for the fact that he's fighting against Oliveira in Rio so soon, more than his past 2 fights this year. Kamaru versus Usman. I think it was a standout because Kamaru's been out for a while. Last person he fought was Chimaev, 2 years ago in October? Not that big of a deal, but still, the way that he was able to come back and dominate someone like Buckley, who we thought was pretty high level, pretty impressive. It's going to be talked about. It's definitely not going to be will be talked about for years type of performance. I don't think he earns a fucking title shot. Get the fuck out of here. I heard him on his new podcast, Pound for Pound with Henry Cejudo, talking about, I need a title shot after this one. What do you think about Islam or even JDM versus, The welterweight go, buddy. You have 2 wins over Masvidal, 2 wins over Colby, and you lost to the same guy twice, who turned out to be a fucking fraud himself because Bilal took him down. You're not the welterweight GOAT. Don't ever speak about GSP again. The disrespect. I don't want to hear that shit. You know what? I'm about to move you down to Won't Be Remembered. Pissing me off with that kind of talk. Joe Pyfer versus Kevin Gastelum. Won't be remembered. Not that big of a deal. Kevin Gastelum still has a chin. Joe Pyfer's not the real deal. Blah, 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 blah. Mario Bautista back on a hit list. He had money on his head for the performance against Jose Aldo. He showed out why the UFC is better than Bellator and PFL, again, against someone like Patchy Mix, who doesn't fucking move on the feet. Everyone was making memes about this shit. It was hilarious to see, talking so much shit at the press conference. He I gotta give it to him. He talked a lot of shit, and he was trying to back it up in there, and it just was not. It didn't go his way at all, and it was really fucking embarrassing, man. Yeah, that was a rough one. I forgot how much shit he talked. Yeah, 2025 standout for sure. Kayla Harrison versus Juliana Pena. Notable and impressive because there was a lot of shit talk in this one. Amanda Nunes came back at the end. What, it was the second round, Kimura or some shit. Dominated Pena, which we all love because Pena's fucking annoying. She trains with Bilal. Notable and impressive because women's MMA has nobody else but Shevchenko, Weili, and Kayla Harrison right now, and fucking Amanda Nunes, because there's nothing else going on in women's MMA, man. Merab versus Sugar Sean. Probably notable and impressive. It was a standout at the time, but it wasn't nothing too fucking crazy. I guess it's Merab's first submission in the UFC, which is pretty impressive, but I don't think it'll be talked about for years. I don't think it was that notable. Like the casuals will know, Merab submitted Sugar. Like, it's not that big of a deal, bro. No one's talking about this but the real UFC hardcore fans, brother. Yeah. Gamrot versus Klein. Nobody wanted to fight Gamrot. Nobody even knew Gamrot fought. Enough fucking said, what happened in this fight? Don't ask me, brother. Don't ask me. Don't come in here, D. Don't come in here, D. Michael Morales versus Gilbert Burns. I feel like Gilbert Burns has fallen off the face of the earth. It was definitely impressive, but with the way that welterweight's kind of progressing, JDM's performance, Islam coming up, it's not that big of a deal in this year, especially beating someone like Burns. Right? JDM versus Bilal. Notable and impressive. Dominated Bilal for 4 rounds. Completely disregarded the takedown defense, or the takedown from Bilal. Dominated him on the feet. Even hit a couple switches. Tried to take down Bilal. Complete domination from start to finish. We realized Bilal has a chin. Bilal's a dog as well. No matter how fucking annoying he is, he has a chin. And he can actually strike pretty well for someone who doesn't carry any kind of power. But yeah, it was a good fight, man. I remember watching that one and then watching the highlights the next couple of days. I still watch this fight every now and then just to note on how good JDM is. JDM is like Mark fucking Goddard. JDM is in the fucking pocket, man. That ping him coin, ping the coin. Bobbing, weaving, uppercut, slap, ba, 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 ba. Weave. I mean, even the high guard, duck, and defense, I was practicing that at home against the back. You know what I mean? I was training. I was hitting these. I'm about to put him in what will be talked about for years. JDM, he gets me hyped, man. And especially with his next fight coming up in November. Corey Sandhagen versus Figgy. Stand out, but won't be remembered. Figgy fucking busted his knee. Not a big deal. No one's talking about it. He got his title shot off of this fight. Again, not a big deal, brother. Sorry, Sandhagen. Bo Nickel versus De Ritter. And I think the reason why I'm putting this one higher than it probably should be is because of how much hype and shit was talked before and after this fight. Because we thought Bo Nickel was the shit. Bo Nickel thought that he was the shit. And he was, in fact, the most overrated fighter in all of UFC's time. American wrestling is shit. And we saw that in this fight. Bo Nickel is not the fighter we thought he was. Bo Nickel is not the fighter that he thought he was. And we all realized that one in the memes before and after this fight. Cinema. Absolute cinema. Okay? That's what I'm fucking talking about. Dalby versus Brown. Pretty vicious knockout. Dalby fucking flatlined. He was getting pieced up at range. He decided to just go for it. And Brown caught him with a fucking fade hook. A fade check hook. And put him to sleep. He fucking face planted, bro. The rest of the fight, don't ask me what happened. Don't come in here, D. Don't come in here. But I do remember the face plant. And I think it'll always be on Randy Brown's highlight reel from now on. Reyes versus Krylov. Reyes' title run starts now. Okay? Ankalaev has no idea what the fuck's coming. Reyes is in the building. Yeah, Reyes is in the fucking building, man. Stand-up performance, fade, counter, 2, right down the pipe. Krylov's right open to it. And then he got knocked out weeks later when he decided to take another fight. Who the fuck is your management, bro? Got put to sleep twice, viciously, within a 3-month period. Enough said, right? Reyes is back. Title run starts now. Prates versus Gary. And honestly, I think it was more impressive for Prates to be able to keep up, get schooled for basically 3 rounds out of the 5, catch some momentum in the 4th, and almost finish Gary in the 5th, which should have been a 10-8 round in my opinion. If you're saved by the bell, it should be a 10-8 round. Gary with the smoke, or no, Prates with the smoking, Gary with the talking shit, taking on short notice, a whole lot of shit was talked, whatever. Fighting Nerd's first loss. Can he go 5 rounds with the drinking and the smoking? Is Gary ready for the task on short notice? You know what I mean? There was some hysteria to it. There was a little bit of build, a little bit of this and that. And the fight turned out to be pretty good. It wasn't great, but it was pretty good. And I think with the finish almost happening in the end of the 5th round, if he just had a little bit more time, and the memes that were produced, the memes of Gary getting back shots after this one, and the fucking gay performances and shit after, you know what I mean? Not that there's anything wrong with that, but the memes of him that were produced from this fight. Cinema, okay? Gene Silva versus Bryce Mitchell. The amount of shit-talking memes that were produced before and after this fight. Cinema. Will be talked about for years. It's definitely not casual level, but if you know, you know in the MMA community, brother. If you know, you know. Paddy Pimblett defeats, I'll see you at the top, Michael Chandler. Dominant performance, flying knees, kicks at range, takedowns, elbows against the fence, nasty TKO. Paddy Pimblett is that good. Yeah, that was a good fucking card. That was on the UFC 314 card with Volk and Diego Lopez, which brings me to my next fight. Volk coming back, being able to regain his dominance in the featherweight division, still making the same mistakes. I still think he loses his next fight against Gene Silva, against Lerone Murphy. I think the only person he has a capability of beating is probably Movsar. And even then, I think he would get speed mogged, bro. I'm going to fly through the next couple ones. Josh Emmett versus Lerone Murphy. Notable. Won't be remembered. Probably going to forget about it. Once I started making this video, I honestly remembered it. You know what I mean? Like, not that big of a fucking deal. Who's that? Drew Dober versus Manuel Torres. Won't be remembered. You know, Drew Dober used to be the guy. He's definitely not the guy anymore. He got knocked out pretty fucking bad. It was a highlight at the time, but now it's kind of faded into the 2025 highlight type of year that we've been having, which hasn't been amazing for UFC. It hasn't produced that many highlight, you know, will be talked about for years type of moments, but it's been decent. Definitely not the worst we've ever had. Definitely not the best. Usyk versus Moreno. Enough said. When the fuck did this fight happen? What happened in this fight? Sean Brady versus Leon Edwards. I think you know where I'm going with this one. Dominant. Leon got fucking fraud checked. You can't even understand it before or after the fight. You don't know what he's saying. No grappling whatsoever. Don't let him bully you, son. You got bullied, bro. You got bullied by a 5'9" fucking tank. And you got dominated and finished. From start to finish. You did not know what to do. He looked like Drickus versus Hamzat out there. It was that bad. The big-ass hole in his game that Kamaru could not exploit. How the fuck could Kamaru not exploit that? Because Kamaru's shit, and he's not that good of a fighter. Don't get me started. Don't community. Vettori versus Dolidze. Won't be remembered. Enough said. Manel Cap versus Aso Mabayev. Just because it's Manel Cap, the finger pokes, the controversy, blah, 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 blah. Bro can't make weight. Exactly. Gaethje versus Fiziev. Probably won't be remembered. Wait a second. Probably won't be remembered because it's more shit has happened and it just wasn't that big of a deal. It was supposed to be Gaethje versus Hooker. Hooker dropped out. Fiziev took it on short notice. Gaethje was in a fucking mounted triangle in the first round and Fiziev couldn't finish it because Fiziev's from Thailand and he fights out of Thailand. Not that big of a deal, bro. Again, I'm going to go back to the Diego Lopez vote. You know, I just knew it. Volk came back. Our king, the short king, the bald behemoth, the great Alexander Volkanovski came back and won that fight dominantly and was landing strikes and was catching Diego Lopez off balance. He definitely didn't drop him based off power, but he was catching him off balance. He was outpointing him on the feet, in the grappling, you name it. Volk fucking did it. He's the man. He's the greatest featherweight to ever do it we've ever seen. By far. Yuri versus Jamal Hill. Stand out. Yuri's head movement improved. His chin's fucking good. Jamal Hill's shit. The memes. The bald Yuri. We love to see it. Yuri is the real fucking deal. And then after this, him and Ank were going back and forth. You know what I mean? We got a little bit of storyline. Light heavyweight's interesting again. Merab versus Umar. And this is borderline. It's just not to the casuals. That's the only fucking thing. You know what? If Diego Lopez is up there and Gene Silva is up there, Merab versus Umar should be up there as well. Umar is the, not rage bait king. What is it called? He is the clip farm fucking king. Right up there with Gene Silva. He is dancing. He is emoting. He is putting Umar's face in his fucking crotch. He is taking him down repeatedly. He beat the fucking record of GSP for numbered of takedowns ever in the UFC. Umar took this with staff. Or no. Merab took it with staff. His leg was fucked up. And he still mogged Umar, bro. He even rocked him. Merab's rocking people now, bro. Back problem, staff. Izzy versus Imavov. I would put it up in the will be talked about for years category, but Imavov's not that big of a star, and Izzy's kind of out of his prime. It's kind of where I'm at with that one, man. You know what fight I didn't even have on here? This didn't happen. Strickland versus Duplessis 2. When? Why? How? Where? Makhachev versus Moicano. Same thing. Won't be remembered. It's not quite this happened, but it's definitely won't be remembered because it wasn't that big of a fucking deal. It was more of a deal that Armand pulled out than the fight actually happening, bro. And that's not a good sign for having a standout fight in 2025. I'll be making one of these at the end of the year. Let's see here. Who's this one? Song Yadong versus Henry Cejudo. Won't be fucking remembered, big dog. Won't be I forgot it even happened. Alex Pereira versus Ankalaev. 2025 standout. Not quite notable and impressive. Pereira was having an off night. Not that big of a deal. It happens. Pereira's getting the belt back. UFC 320 in Las Vegas. Don't fucking nothing. I don't want to hear shit. And Kalaev's a piece of shit. He's a terrible fighter. I don't want to hear nothing. And Moicano versus... I do have it on here. Why didn't I get Strickland? Moicano versus Islam. Won't be remembered. Not that big of a deal. There was more hype behind Armand pulling out than the actual fucking fight. Let me know what you think. I'm going to make one at the end of the year of all the fucking fights compiled into one. It's probably going to be a long-ass fucking video. This was fun. Till next time, like, subscribe, comment down below.